I'm Andrew Phillips. Welcome to my channel. I'm here with my buddy John. He's in town from Vegas. We're here in historic Colonial Williamsburg. Going to check out some of the cool features here and the cool history. So let's get started with it. If you choose to come to Colonial Williamsburg, it's always good to do it right and start off by coming to the visitor center. They have this beautiful courtyard that you come into with this awesome waterfall. They have these dedication plaques here. Everything is landscaped. Very nice, very, very beautiful. And as you come into the courtyard area and you work your way down these steps here where the waterfall comes down, you have this kind of this table type area, as I'm going to show you right here, that goes across here at the bottom of the steps right before you go into the visitor center. And it's got this awesome dimensional map of Williamsburg, and it's pretty cool. You can check it out. It's got all the buildings laid out and everything here. From the lower level of the visitor center, you can board one of their many shuttles that take you directly into the historic Colonial Williamsburg. And once you arrive there, as you see here, you're right in the middle of going back in time with the town recreated exactly how it would have been, and some of the buildings being the original buildings from that period that have just been maintained. Other ones are recreated on the actual foundations and to spec of the buildings that were there at that time. In addition to checking out the entire Colonial Williamsburg, you can also do these tours with a tour guide as shown here. My buddy and I did one here. We went through it's like an hour tour through the town, and you have this tour guide is this gentleman right here explaining the different buildings, explaining the town, the different procedures, processes back in that day, the farming, all of that. Very interesting tool, very educational, and highly recommended.
And Speaker of the House is the highest office that any Virginian can hold. Okay. Otherwise, governor is the next highest position, and that's always given to somebody from Europe. Of course. Now, when you look through Williamsburg here, there's no poor people. There's no average people. Top 10% of the income earners have homes here. The average Virginian, when you get a few miles outside of town, they got no glass in their windows and they have a dirt floor.
From that wall forward is the original portion of the house built here by the early 1700s. So by 1770, John Randolph, Peyton's father, is buying this property and raising his family here. Now, as it turns out, a good 30 years later, after he's finished his law degree, he and his brother go to England to study law. He comes back here, he buys this house from his mother.
Here on the mantle of Peyton Randolph's house, you have this original 18th century china displayed there on that mantle, and then here on the wall you have the paintings of Mr. and Mrs. Randolph.
But if you do see him, just understand I would love to have him back, and the reward, of course, listed there. So Edmund Randolph is to receive John Harris after Peyton Randolph died, so known as John.
The original street did not have the trees as shown here, and the street went all the way up to the steps of the homes. So we're browsing through the streets right now, doing a 1 hour foot tour, walking to different historical places. Very cool stuff, but just keep in mind if you're coming here, be prepared to do a lot of walking. We're happy to be here now when it's very hot, so just keep that in mind. But if you can endure that, it's definitely fun stuff, definitely worth it.
That receipt is your checkbook. You want to buy something from the millionaires? Just write them a tobacco note. And then once your tobacco auction's in England, Mr. Greenhouse agent will get paid, the milliner's agent will get paid, and any residue is yours. Right? So they pay off all your tobacco notes first, and then you get the residue. And they're not so We tried a lot of things when we first got here. We had no clue what the cash crop was going to be. They even tried silkworms. But it does wind up that tobacco becomes the cash crop. And it's really, really labor intensive. So what you do, you see we've got the little hills there that everything's growing in. You got to hill the ground up, otherwise you got nothing to grab onto. I mean, how many of you have tripped over tree roots already today?
So this is what you said, the courthouse?
This is the county courthouse.
So the furniture, everybody wants to know as we pass, the one that you sit on, called the stocks. That is just a holding cell, like a holding cell in the gym today.
The clerk has acknowledged justices are supposed to have the wisdom to decide how the law should actually apply. At least that's the theory. We have the justices here making the decisions most of the time.
So the state court is down the street in the Capitol, correct?
That's the high court area, the general court.
And were they always so close? Because that's
No, this is just one of many local courts. Every county in Virginia will have a local court meeting once a month.
okay.
This is local court, and it just happens to be capital city.
Okay, so but this particular town, it's historically accurate that it was like down the street.
Yeah.
In this particular town.
Yeah, it's very close to where the high court handles the big cases.
Some of the houses here in Colonial Williamsburg can actually be rented by individuals. You have to leave the exterior of the house, obviously, to appear as the colonial look, but there's access to the back where you can actually drive your car in and you can live inside of those homes in the area, but still just maintain the look. We're gonna pop in here into this Cooperage display here where they make barrels. Check it out.
They hold the container together.
Yeah.
That's it.
So is there any kind of like adhesive or something or like?
No.
So what?
So you will see variations in the quality of construction depending on what containers.
I gotcha. Right. And then the hoops, I'm assuming you don't actually.
We buy the material as flat strap, that's what we have on shelves here. Barrel shaped containers in one size or another were used by businesses as bulk shipping containers for pretty much everything here. We had different sizes for different commodities. Those sizes were regulated by law. So since they're product specific packaging, they'd be made where the contents were produced. So if there's a cooper you made, beer barrels should be employed at a brewery. If you made flour barrels, should work for a grist mill.
So you didn't have like your own like business, or you just made barrels generically for the whole community?
No, because the community doesn't need barrels.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. Breweries need beer barrels. Nobody else needs beer barrels.
Okay.
Absent a brewery, there's no point in making.
Yeah.
Flour barrels are the packaging the flour shipped in, so grist mills need them to ship their product. Nobody else needs that in flour barrels.
That's the what is it, the armory.
This is cool.
real person.
No, on the accents. So how does this work? You make the axe handle and they shape you make the head and they shape the handle to fit your design here, or do they give you
Fit the wood to the, yeah.
Makes sense. It would be easier.
But, if you're going to be in business and all you're going to make is axes,
Any kind of I see some swords back there. You guys use those as well?
working on some of the shop lately. Yeah, I've been working on a couple of them. Shop did a lot of military work when we were at war in England. More of that was fixing muskets, but they were working on swords and bayonets in the shop too. And then they also kept up with the civilian work like we have here on the tables.
Okay. And like the swords and the bayonets from the military, like what was the quality really? Like, I mean.
Good morning, gentlemen, ladies. I'm full aware that most of you will not have made my acquaintance, it having been some years since I was last here in the city, back in '81. So what was that, 5 years ago? And therefore, many of you won't recognize me. My name is George Washington. And last time I was here in the city was, of course, while we were engaged in the war. And on our way from New Windsor, New York, to York, in Virginia, just down the street from this place. The director of all things carried us through many numerous scenes. In a long and bloody war, I am quite aware that a number of you here in Virginia stand opposed to the ratifying of this document. In no small part because the very moving and passionate, powerful debate put forth by Mr. Henry of Hanover County. Arms must still grow. So more often than not, in occasions of war, even in a European war with.
In addition to all of the history and reenactments and historic locations to visit and just really enjoy and take in, you also have, as shown here, just the foliage and just a relaxing and beautiful atmosphere. You can eat out here and just nice breeze, beautiful scenery. We're coming up here on the Governor's Palace. Can we go inside?
I believe so.
Yeah, so let's.
We can go in these directions, so that's why people come out of there.
We're gonna check it out, see if we can go inside and see what's in there.
So I guess we'll go in this way.
Yeah, and see what they got.
Who's left to protect the barn? So ladies, we are well versed in how to use guns too. What we're doing here, we're trying to copy that old European tradition of decorating your castle with suits of armor and shields and swords. But there's not a lot of suits of armor in Virginia, so we have to make do. Less exciting at the time was being what's on the walls. I mean, you will definitely notice. But weapons in and of themselves are not unusual. Here in Virginia, all 3 white men between the ages of 16, 57 enslaved individuals working and keep a lot of expensive stuff in there, so normally the pantry would be shut and locked. The parlor is in one room that could go either way. You could
Not these.
These right here.
Yeah, it's been built by
should we expect it to be? Now, sometimes it was used as office space for the governor. We don't know what the carpet exactly looks like here, but the things in there, things like cake, pie, jello, and ice cream, to refresh ourselves, to come back here and do some English country dancing until at least dawn. Honestly, probably longer. But if you get tired of dancing, there's cars.
I want to ask her, because I didn't realize these were original copies. They're the original frames. Okay. Oh, this is not. I kind of like the carpet. Actually, I was able to. Thank you very much. No.
Capital, and then see anything else you want to see before we take off?
They're going to put it back on the list.
They need to
Yeah, I think they got kicked off.
We have to go back around.
Actually walking here in the garden outside of the governor's mansion, just came out of there. Very beautiful place, awesome architecture. But take a look here behind me. I'll see if I can show you. You can see some of the stuff here, this garden section. Beautiful stuff. So we are gonna get a bite to eat, and then we'll be back to continue the tour. So I'll see you guys in a few minutes.
Today, here it is. We should soon learn the truth of this bloodshed.
Truth.
War has begun. Blood has been shed.
Who's blood? Not Virginians.
Nay, Massachusetts, but this affair is only the beginning. It says here that last Wednesday, General Gage dispatched troops to seize gunpowder from the public magazines in Concord.
But that's only 2 days before Lord Dunmore removed our public powder. Legally, friends. Recall, as royal governor, he does have that authority.
Don't you see? Our powder removed, moving to seize the gunpowder from Massachusetts. That proves that it's all a conspiracy, that the British government is moving against all of us, and soon we'll see even more British warships in the Chesapeake.
And rumors of conspiracy are running rampant these days. How can we be certain that this is not just another one? Well, perhaps it's fair to read the contents of that paper. I mean, for those of us who have not read it.
Agreed. People of Williamsburg, I ask that you listen closely.
Yes, I'm listening.
This morning arrived an express from the northward with the following advices. To all friends of American liberty, be it known...
But wait, you see that all we know is already met Mr. Braxton, we've met Captain Finney over there. There's my brother-in-law, Dr. Bolt.
Good morning. Good to see you.
And he's talking to Marcus, the slaves who are always traveling.
Good day to you.
Okay. I'm Mary Craig. Well, I live just next door to the Raleigh Tavern. And in a few moments, I'm sure we'll find out what Captain Finney was talking about just now. But till then, what's up? Find out about our lives.
Now, y'all mighty.
I can still hear you.
Grow it out. The style of the 18th century used to have a clean-shaven face as well as long dressed hair. Can't really do that once you decide, I'm not gonna wear a wig anymore. Your hair's short. You gotta wear something. You gotta do something about that. So you will be buying a half wig first that the hair color has been blended into your own natural hair. Once Once you grow a bit more hair, you will purchase one of our cues. Same deal. We'll blend it to your own hair color. So this, I'm making a piece for myself, not I have to ignore a cue. But it's the same process of making it. It's one long continuous weft of hair, and the hair has been blended to my own hair color. No, we do not dye the hair. It is possible, it's just very dangerous. We do have documents saying, oh hey, here's how you do it, blah blah blah. We do not recommend this at all, but I'm just a piece of paper, so I can't really stop you.
And why was it dangerous?
Let's talk a little bit about typesetting, because many of you have already seen the press. And two type cases, one sitting up above the other, and they have names you're familiar with. So what do you think a really good name? You have a great day. What do you think a really good name for your two type cases might be, with one sitting up above the other?
Upper and lower case.
That's why they call the upper and lower case. So for any of you who've ever wondered where those terms come from, they're printers terms. And I have 152 letters that make up the alphabet. Right, kids? Yeah? No? Where are you in from? Where are you kids from? You know? What colony do you live in?
What colony are you from?
Delaware?
Yeah.
Are you all from Delaware?
No, Las Vegas.
Oh, Vegas. So you're in from the Indian territory. With their business meeting, they organize an unofficial militia. Not one that was set up by Virginia, but by this business. Brush is not really a brush, but a pillow nailed to a stick. Right? Now I do dip that in, I beat that around, and that's known as beating, done by the guy called the beater. The products to make my ink are products that I have not yet found being made in Virginia. So let me ask you, if you're a businessman, are you going to make stuff that you can't sell? And that's the reason we buy them from England. Right? So as I do this work, I also want you to understand the lifeblood of my industry, not the press, not the ink, but it's right here. Type. Where's type imported from? Do you think we make that in the colonies, or do you think that's coming from somewhere else? Where is it coming from? Don't overthink this, people.
Very good.
There you go. England, Scotland, some Dutch types are found as well.
So we like to rotate different talks and different topics today. I left out some hints so y'all can figure out what we're going to talk about. You know, guys?
Maps.
Yeah. All map. Well, we're going to go for all these flags you see here. So before we get into talking about any specific histories or how they're really used, let me give you all a couple pieces of flag terminology. You'll probably already know all this, but the idea is any given flag nowadays, we're used to seeing like a 3x5, something rectangular.
Yeah.
Well, at that point in time, if you see rectangular, usually it's going to imply something like the Navy or like fortresses or garrisons. Usually for armies in the field, it's something a bit more square in nature.
Located on the corner of Blair Street and Duke of Gloucester Street is the Capitol Building, which also has the High Court inside of it as well. Entering into the Capitol Building, you come in first to this courtroom area, which is known as the High Court, and this is for anything that would escalate beyond the local courts, like a Supreme Court type of setting. And then as you leave here, come into this foyer area here, and then you have this staircase that goes up. And if we look up here, you can see this thing is a very big building. You've got multiple levels, the staircase. Up at the second floor, you have this meeting room here where a lot of officials would discuss things. And then across the hall from it, you had another room, which is this one here, where you would also use that also for a meeting room. And then we had this room here with the two tables where disagreements and things could be worked out in a more peaceful type setting. And then coming in here, this is on the second floor. It looks a lot like the courtroom that we saw for the High Court, but this was more of a meeting room where the leaders of the country would come together and just discuss topics and present things. And we're being told that George Washington and other very known founding fathers actually stood in this room discussing topics and presenting things back in the 18th century. All right, guys, so we are wrapping up here. John and I have pretty much spent the last 2 days, I guess, on here. John, what'd you think?
I thought it was great. I thought it was a lot of valuable information. I think it was wonderful to see all the both reproductions and original homes.
Yeah, I agree. Very, very cool stuff. A lot of the stuff we saw are the actual buildings. If they weren't, they were built on the original foundations to spec. They were able to find historic detail to get the spec and colors, including the governor's mansion. Apparently the original one had burned down, so they built this one right on spot with all the original details they found on file. But some of the other buildings, like the courthouses and stuff that we were in, that's the original building. So very cool stuff. Highly recommend it. One of the down things I had, I don't know about you, John, but I kind of felt some of the tour guides were throwing a little bit of their own political opinions in there, which I wish they would have left that out. But outside of that, I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was the one downside. Everything else, if you're a history lover, this is a great place to come.
Yep, so cool. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe. I'm constantly posting content. I appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time.